Now, oh. Now recording. I started with laughing. Oh fuck!
Craig is way too subtle, man.
So Dell,
Yeah.
are you ready for action?
Floor is yours.
Ready for action. We're back at it. We're still doing it. Spotify or any other platform has yet to ban us. So I guess we're doing something right.
Or very wrong.
Or very wrong. True, because nobody
We,
listens to it and
we were
nobody
very
reports it
surprised
ever.
actually to see that people actually listen to it. I didn't.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
no,
I
that's
don't know.
that's me listening to it 10 times over and just having it on repeat.
Aww.
Oh, I see.
Aww. All right, let's introduce our guest a little bit and tonight's episode. It's going to be a different one. We're going to be talking about raid etiquette, and we're going to talk a little bit about systems like EPGP and soft reserves, and what we might think if there is an ideal system, what would that be? But first and foremost, tonight we have Rob here with us, who goes by the in-game name of Shadowmoor, and he has an alliance character as well. But I don't know the name of the alliance character, so
The
I'm just
name of
gonna
the
let him.
He almost betrayed that. That's why. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
almost. I do like the shaman though.
He's playing both sides at this point. He's playing
Yeah,
both sides
yeah.
in the war. Rob, floor is yours. Why don't you start introducing yourself? Who you are? What do you do?
Well,
What's your relationship with World of Warcraft?
you introduced me very nicely. I am Shadowmoor, also known as Rob. But what's my relationship with World of Warcraft? Bad and good one. I failed in education because of World of Warcraft, but I also made some good friends because of World of Warcraft.
Failed in education. Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was more fun to level my character than actually do the work for a diploma. So,
Actually, many did over the years.
Yeah,
but
I don't disagree.
okay, but I started in vanilla, so not classic vanilla, but real vanilla, and I've played every expansion and went back to classic. I didn't do every expansion after that because I like classic more. I mostly play healers, although in TBC I was a warlock because I liked the set items very much and I wanted to have a warlock look like that. So I started on this server as Ikoria. Then I went to a couple of healers. And as you said, I also have a alliance shaman healer called Daily, for the alliance listeners who want to know. Yeah, we are just a couple of the horde guys sticking together on alliance, making some new friends, by the way. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's always cool in social game over the last. Is it 20 years now? Which one is the anniversary this year? I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't want to know how much years I wasted of my life on this game.
Exactly.
To be honest.
That's why.
Wow, man. 20 years. Which expansion was your favorite?
Mine.
Hmm.
My favorite expansion was Wrath Lich King, actually.
Oh, really?
So I'm very happy that we're back there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yours?
I don't know. I haven't played that much, honestly. I've only been playing World of Warcraft now.
Oh yeah,
Since
that's
Classic
true.
release.
I'd rather ask Alex then. Alex, you
Yeah,
have a
true.
real opinion. What's your favorite one?
Thanks, man.
I mean, there's if it's only one that you had to pick, like the top favorite one, it would always be Wrath of the Lich King.
I think a lot of people will
For
say
me, for me as well, yeah.
that. Yeah.
When you first started, I mean, since we already said it's been almost 20 years, we started at a very young age. If you started in vanilla, like me, so yeah, every new expansion seemed so much more fun, so many more things to do, and TBC was great. Then boom, Wrath came out, and it changed almost everything. It was a whole new game.
I have to say, like the real vanilla, the scope of the world back then. Now it's a small world, but the scope of the world and the awe of it was something that I never found in any other game. So in that respect, I kind of also like vanilla because it was like, what is happening to me? You were in the little starting zone, killing stuff in how is that called? In that starting zone, killing some stuff, and then you went out of those gates, and then the world was bigger and no load screen, and you just went on and on and on, and it was like exploring everything.
What
That
always
was
amazed me on vanilla, on WoW in general, from the start, was the so smooth movement of the character and the
yeah.
attack animations. Every other game back then seemed so robotic, so automated, and in WoW it felt so physical. It was
Hey,
nice touch.
Yeah,
it's a
also the
very polished game. Very
Yeah.
polished game.
yeah, also when I'm just now looking at my character, because I got WoW running, of course, because I'm an addict. The fact that I see my character breathing, just standing still, breathing, and my mount is breathing, and it is immersive. It feels like it's alive. And
That's
a lot of the other MMOs that I've seen and played didn't have that aspect, and it was like, okay, my character's standing there and he's just standing there. But
yeah.
sometimes your character looks around or just breathes. It makes it more believable. Although I am a space goat at the moment, which is not
Space
believable.
goats. Space goats are fun. I like them. See, we started way too wholesome, I think, and we're about to digress. I feel like when we start going over raid etiquette. So,
Yeah, but
Rob,
that's
you've
no. In all fairness, you say we digress, but a lot of raid etiquette is a balance between being social and being you're raiding there and you have your stuff, but it's also the social part. So a lot of this, we're being social right now, is basically a good thing. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, because
it's fine.
it's probably because we're talking about raid etiquette, and some of the, I believe it is for me at least, that the best experiences I had in this game is meeting people and doing shit together. I mean,
Yeah, true.
achieving shit together, even the slightest, new kill, a hard and a boss, getting the thing you tried for about 10 weeks in a row. That's what is keeping me going, to be honest, after this point. So raid is a whole part of this.
Yeah. And honestly, the reason why we have Rob here today, besides the fact that he's really fun, so good content, it's because he has been raiding for so long, and he honestly has some I want to say strong opinions on how we should be behaving as raiders, and I agree with like all of them personally. So if we can I don't know, help someone be a better part of what the community that you guys love creating when playing World of Warcraft, that'd be great. So Rob, here's the $1,000,000 question for you. Describe the person, but like not don't name anybody, but like describe the profile, the character of a raider that you despise the most.
What I really don't like of a raider is somebody that starts. It could either be in voice chat, Discord, or in raid channel. First blame others before they look at themselves. That's what I despise the most. Like you can be top DPS every time or whatever, or be the best healer, or but nobody is perfect. And some people think they are perfect and let other people know that they think they are crap, instead of looking at your own things that you can maybe fix before blaming others.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I really don't like as a raider mentality, and I think that is poor etiquette.
Mhm, for sure.
Do you think it's a common though thing? Do you think that it happens way too often, or is it
This
sparse?
it's human nature. It's human
Yeah.
nature to. Don't get me wrong. Like holding a mirror in front of your own face is really hard to do, even in real life or in a game like this. For example, last time just before we went to Algalon, you posted a a little brief about the logs and what you found out, and my name was mentioned there with a thing that I could do better. The first time I read that, I was like, "Who gives a flying fuck?" But no, serious. This was my train of thought, and then I went
Right. Right.
into that. Into the logs, and I was looking and I was seeing, okay, what is it, and then I started a conversation about it. So but it is hard to look at yourself and think, because everybody thinks they're doing okay or good.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody points them out to something like that, then it's always a threshold for somebody to um, better themselves
Overcome.
or
Yeah.
overcome that feeling. Like I had to, for me, it took like 5 minutes because I was looking at it and I was like, oh yeah, I could do that better. So I started a dialogue with some people. It was about the inspiration and the shaman buff if they stack, and the Algalon after that. I wasn't there, but Disciplined was there, and now I looked at his logs and what he does differently, because you
Yeah.
raised that um,
Awareness.
awareness. Yeah,
Awareness. Yeah. Shout out to Reddit, by the way, and to all the people who actually took their time off to look at our logs and see stuff that we could
oh,
probably not see.
you put it on Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't
Oh
didn't you see
Jesus!
it? Yeah, but it
Uh,
was anonymous, so
did I
they don't
see my
know.
name?
As it
No,
should be
no.
on Reddit because some comments were fire. Sure.
Yeah, some
But
were fire. That's true.
Oh,
uh,
that's where that comment was from about a
Yeah,
certain
yes,
yeah,
yes,
class needed
yes.
to learn.
yeah,
It's classic Reddit
yeah.
though. I mean, it's the people.
True,
It's a place to roast other people. So whatever.
true.
Well, that is,
But
in all fairness, I think. Okay, sorry that I'm
no,
hijacking
no,
again,
keep going, keep going.
but
It's a free convo.
it's also about, we were talking about looking at yourself instead of looking at other, and blaming other, instead of blaming other people. But in the in current society, blaming other people is very common.
Yeah,
So
True.
it's, maybe it's, I'm over exaggerating everything, but the current climate is blaming others instead looking at yourself. So
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of hate going on. I feel like people. Oof, we're gonna go too deep here. I feel like people have lost their. I want to say balance. It's like you
or
had
the
this.
empathy.
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, they do lack empathy, but honestly, empathy should be taught in schools and kindergartens. I don't know what's going on in the rest of the Europe, but in Greece, no way. Um,
I think you
but
get a
anyway,
new class of economics, right?
Oh, you went
um,
there. Mhm.
Sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's not delve into that because Greeks. Anyway, so back to the whole reason. It's exactly what you mentioned. The wanting to get better and overcome the threshold of hey, I'm a player A today, but I can be player A plus tomorrow. So that was the whole reason behind me going over to Reddit and asking for advice, because I feel like if you don't try that, there is always a certain point where you know what you can be doing, what you can do better, right? Because you play your class and you know your class, but um there are always people who are way more experienced than you, and if you don't seek out improvement, especially if you're in a guild that wants to do hard modes in Uldor right now, or push for achievements later on and whatever, in my mind, you have to be in that sort of mentality. Otherwise, you're going to probably end up being dead weight. I understand the criticism is hard. I myself struggle with it a lot, um, but if you have this healthy mentality of, you know what, I can take this advice and work with it. I don't have to listen to what everybody says, like 100%, but I can honestly filter out some things that can work for me. And I guess in the end, it worked because we did down Algalon. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I
yeah, but
wasn't there, so you downed him. That's why.
but back on on Raid etiquette, really, even all the shit talking we do about Reddit and the comments we already expected that were gonna happen in the post, it
yeah,
really rose awareness, as Rob said, that it made
yeah.
us think and discuss mostly, because it was all about the actual discussion that needed to happen and the changes.
Yeah, it's just like it's good to have a shake up
Exactly,
on the
yeah.
subject, because people will get into a certain play style, regime, whatever you want to call it, like pushing the same buttons, going through the motions, and then if we just keep on doing, you'll hit the same wall over and over again, and then you just have to hope that something will not never change if you're doing the same thing over and over again. So
Mm-hmm.
it was good that you made that post. Some people maybe thought it was a little bit over critical. I had that at some point as well. But I got over myself. That's basically what you have to do. And I took something from it.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
I
imagine.
hope
Yeah.
I know that the healers, because I'm in the healer group together with Alex, by the way,
Mm.
that we talked about it at the start. I was a little bit sick, so I didn't really talk a lot, but we talked about what people should do going into that fight, and I hope the DPS and the tanks did the same. And apparently they did, because it all came together and you guys killed him. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but imagine that post that was about us with some, anonymous logs that people, some were dissing and some were actually helping. It would be there on the Reddit, community, as a post that will also help another guild, and maybe some other guilds, because they will look at
True.
the logs and maybe they are in a worse situation than us. I mean, I saw a
True.
guy
yeah,
that commented that they were progressing on Algonon for 5 weeks and they didn't kill it, and we did it in 2 days.
in two
So
resets we did it. Yeah.
yeah, so imagine if it would help other people as well, because that's the internet, that's the information you get. If you want
Yeah,
to keep the good parts, I mean,
I know, but a lot of I think it's pretty well. Brave is a big word, maybe, but uh, I don't know other words. But it's pretty brave from George, not George, yeah, George. To I normally call you Dell. Sorry.
It's
Um,
okay.
it's pretty brave from George to put this on a public forum, because I'm going back to the mentality of current gamers is to diss people instead of helping people. So it's good that you can filter out the good from the bad, but it's not every group of raiders is um, has the same of dares to do that. If you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
to
That's actually a good point that you mentioned right now, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I really need to I want to ask this question. So, like you mentioned, it's hard to change your mentality and basically open yourself to criticism, right? So, um, when you have a player who is not like this and who's on the opposite side of the spectrum, the elitist behavior that you pretty much started with, going, saying that it's the profile that you despise the most. How do you feel like a raid team or a raid leader, if it's not up to the team, how do you feel like they could work around that, or what is it that they have to do, if there is anything?
with him still being in the team.
Yeah.
So not just have a talk with him if he doesn't change, he's out. Because
Yeah, I feel like this. Mhm.
in all fairness, that's what I would like to do with some people.
Oh, don't you think that it's a bit extreme if you don't have a discussion with them first, though?
No. First, have a discussion that they have an attitude problem or they have a different vision than that we want to have as a raid team.
Right.
Like being prepared, having all your consumables, having work on yourself if that's required.
Mhm.
If that's something they are not willing to show, yeah, then there's only a way to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, after all these
In my
years,
opinion.
yeah, after all these years as well, I've been in several different spots in guilds, like a class leader, an officer, a raid leader, or even a casual raider. The what people call noobs or starters or anything didn't really bother me at all, as long as they improved, and just at
Yeah,
least
but that
came a bit prepared, read something. It was mostly the elitists that made me sick as well, as you mentioned.
yeah, that's the whole thing. If I have a person that is coming into a raid, he has done nothing of all the fights. He
Mhm.
comes in, but he says, "I've read all the fights, and
Mhm.
I'm doing my thing." And you see during the raid that he is progressing. Then it's all fine. I don't give a shit if I have to carry you like 2 or 3 of all bosses in Ulduar, but you're developing yourself.
Yeah.
If you're a person that has been in the guild for a million years, and then you go on autopilot on every patch, and you don't want to look at your progression, what you can do better, or your communication is crap, or you think it's okay that you don't have all your what you call it buff food and stuff like that, then there's a problem.
So, what
Then
do you
then then
consider?
it's then it's like your what's the word? Then you're entitled, and that's not a good thing.
Entitled, yeah.
So,
Like
what's
Mhm.
you're expecting entitlement.
your
Hmm?
opinion on preparation for raids? What's your opinion on that as a total?
As a new raid, or in total, what you should bring.
Yeah, as a person, not as a class or anything.
As a person, you should bring your how do you say that? Sorry, I'm not English. You should bring something to the table that you have knowledge of your class, your spec, your ins and outs, and it doesn't have to be everything. I'm not perfect, as you know, but also, in all fairness, you should have buff food with you, because a lot of people expect a fish feast, but just have your
Yeah.
own buff food with you. I have like 70 of my own with me every raid. I still get whispers from people, "Oh, I don't have flasks. Do you have?" Because they know I have 80 flasks on me. I don't need 80 flasks, but I farmed them, so I have them.
Yeah.
Uh, Stuff like that. Just come prepared and know your class, know the fights.
Be early.
Yeah. Be early. Dude, I mean, honestly, it's about doing your due diligence because for me, and I honestly, Alex, I've told you that thing many times.
Yeah,
When
I
you're
was about to get there. Yeah, but
yeah, when you're
just keep.
raiding, it's like it's you, and then there's 24 other people, right? And all the 25 people that consist the raid have agreed on certain um qualifications, I'm going to call them, that they have to meet, right? They sort of have this silent agreement that they are going to respect each other, and by respecting each other, it means that you come prepared, like Rob says, like doing your due diligence, get your pots, get your food, study your class, study the fights. I mean, don't overstudy the fights, sure, because there's always the raid leader who will explain the fight beforehand, especially when a new phase rolls out. But if the raid leader has to do that, 3 or 4 weeks in, dude, get yourself checked. Um, there's also this thing about not being late or not signing up, which I fucking hate. I don't understand it. It's like you're wasting everyone's time
Yeah.
at this. Yeah, no, it's explicit. It's I don't understand it. I understand that you can be late. I understand that real life happens. I get that. Okay, I do. Because it's only a game, honestly. Why you have to be mad? But it doesn't take that much of your time to sign up, and it will take way more time for the raid leader to start chasing you around to see whether or not you're signing up, or whether or not you're coming, or do they need to replace you, and then they have to think about replacement options and whatnot. I mean,
It's
just
about
respect.
respect,
Yeah, just
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, just respect the other 24 people. Respect their time. I mean, it's not about you. You're not the center of the universe. There's 24 other people there with you. Come on. Um,
Yeah,
it's one
but
thing to come in late, but coming in late and being unprepared as well, dude. No, no, I don't
yeah.
know. Um,
That's
I'm
basically disrespecting 24 other people.
yeah, and it's very common. Not in our guild, but it's common in general. You can see it from pugging. You can see it from going into heroic plus even, where the guy will not even take some of their time to hop on their flying mount and fly towards the instance. They just wait for the teleport. They just wait for them to be summoned.
Yeah, I
Like,
once had that. I had 4 people who were waiting in Dalaran to be summoned. I was like, yeah, I can't do this if nobody clicks.
yeah, like what is this? I mean, come on. Just hop on the flying mount and get over there. I understand that Utgard Keep or whatever it's called is so far away from Dalaran, but come on. I mean, really, are you just gonna be staying in Dalaran? And they do
Yeah,
that
but
in
it
raids too.
it happens in raids and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know, man. Alex, which what would be the person that you don't like in a raid?
don't say me.
It's Rob.
It's Rob.
Point fingers.
It's probably what you already mentioned. I mean, because I don't know if these people that we've already mentioned come in categories. It's probably the person that does all of the above that we've mentioned. The Not the preparation, the attitude, coming late, leaving early, all that stuff. And being an elitist freak as well.
Here's another question. Would you guys excuse that person if they were like uh a 99, 100 parser, the best player that you could get?
No,
No,
no.
Wow. That was very
no.
straightforward.
In all fairness, I know why logs are important, and you can see performances, and I know that parsers are a thing for people. But in the end of the day, if a boss goes down and we had a raid that everybody is on the same level and being how do you say that respecting to the other 24 people, And I'd rather have that than somebody who says, yeah, I did 99 parses, but I saw that healer X was not doing this, and healer B was not doing this, and DPS should step the fuck up, and you're popping your potions at the wrong time. That's like blaming everybody. Yes, you're doing a good job, but yeah, what it doesn't make it like a social and a safe environment. That's maybe a little bit harsh on the, but it doesn't make it fun, because at the end of the day you'll kill a boss, but like 11 people who he just called out feel crap. But you killed the boss. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, that was I was about to say that the answer was no, because you're gonna spend at least 20 hours a week with that person and the other 24 or 9 people. So you need these 20 hours to at least be fun, and not make you stress more or make you even angrier than your work or your real life. That's why.
It's not a job. We're still playing a game.
Hmm.
Like, and now you go first.
No. That's about it. You spend at least 20 hours raiding with other people, and you need to have fun. You need to to be social and do the little side jokes and everything, because then it would be just like playing with bots or
Yeah,
anything.
we're in here for a multiplayer aspect. Having, yeah, indeed, you want to have the other people in your raid to have a good time with them. If you're indeed playing with 24 people who are constantly silent but performing top notch, then where's the fun in that? Yeah, you know me. I like to talk a lot during raids.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to ask
And
you the next question. Was the point, the breaking point of fun in raids? What do you believe, guys? George?
Yeah, what's like the red line? Um, I don't know. I like when people are talking, honestly, when we're clearing, trash and stuff.
mhm.
Um, not when I say we, I don't mean, the guild. I'm just using we willy-nilly here. Um, I feel like when you're about to enter a fight, I know that honestly we're saying pretty basic stuff here, right? But there are a lot of people who are not doing them. So, they cannot not be said enough, I guess. When you're about to enter a fight and you're explaining a fight, have your mouth shut and your ears open, because if we're fighting and you have a raid leader trying to call shots and somebody else is making a joke at that point, and then somebody else talks about something else, and you know
Well, the
it
fine
creates this.
line, the
Yeah,
fine line on that is, as I said, I really like to joke around and stuff. But if you've ever noticed my own how I function is, when we're on a boss, you can hardly hear me. I will
that's
I
true.
will
That's
I
true.
will listen if the raid leader says something. And sometimes in our raid, I think too many people, I hope I don't offend anybody here, but I think too many people are talking in our raid. And that's really weird coming from me, because I'm the biggest talker in the raid. But uh,
Exactly.
it's 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 on trash where I do all my fun stuff. In my opinion, I think they're fun. Some people don't, but I think they're fun. But there's the fine line. If it's fine that you talk, but choose your moments.
Yeah, I think it depends on the information that's being communicated. You know, if somebody wants to speak out of their turn during a fight, but the information that they're sharing is critical, say you're a tank, right? And I don't know, your main taunt ability missed or got parried. I don't know. This is an information that you want to share with a group, and you don't expect the rate leader to do that for you. But I don't know. Some people just talk a lot.
Yeah, some people
during
talk, but you
fights.
also, the problem is that you also have some people that don't talk enough.
Oh, that's very important too.
That you have certain roles in a raid that need to be vocal. I'm looking at tanks, for example. Tanks need to be vocal. It's all fun and games when I'm getting called out by somebody that I didn't, what do you call it, pain suppression them. But if I don't
Mhm.
hear a tank calling that out, because I don't know how his rotation of his cooldowns is, and you have some tanks that will say nothing and then expect me to do a pain suppression. Yeah, sorry.
So we're coming back to communication. It's like,
Communication is key, but
yeah, one of the
yeah.
biggest keys. Go on.
No, no,
Tell us
no, no.
more.
What?
Tell us more.
No, 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 no. I
Share
was
with the
agreeing
group.
with
We're
you.
doing therapy here.
I was agreeing with you.
Talking too little is a problem. Alex, do you remember in phase 1 we were doing a Nextramus run, and it was supposed to be an immortal run as well,
Mhm.
and we were doing a noob. And I remember that a healer that we had, plus, well, 2 healers, did not communicate with the group that they had what's the mechanic on a noob?
Oh,
The
when the boss moved and he did the swarm thingy, the
Locust Swarm.
yeah,
events. Yeah,
yeah, and they didn't say anything, and they just died.
yeah,
They didn't
true.
say that they were silenced, so they couldn't heal themselves
I
and get
mean,
out of it.
yeah, they shouldn't be in the first place, but yeah, they didn't just say anything, just stood there without communicating with anyone.
Yeah, I mean, this
Ah,
is this
nice.
is an important, see, this is an important information that you need to share with the group, no matter who is rate leading, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Share
totally.
that. Just use your mouth. And I don't understand why people join discords, especially in pugs, and don't say anything ever. Like,
Ah, that okay. Yeah, some people
I'll,
might be shy.
on a bug, yeah, I can understand shyness, but when you're raiding with the same 24 other people every week, I still think it's weird that some people don't respond on Discord calls. You don't have to respond in voice, in my opinion, but not responding even in chat, and that it has to be asked 4 or 5 times for something, or why be on Discord then anyway? I don't get that.
mm.
It's coming back to communication. Communication is key in a raid.
Yeah, it's the A.
So, guys, both Rob and Alex, there are a lot of guilds out there that have had and have been having problems with um, behavior and players who, have shown elitist behavior in the past, or they've been overly critical because they may not feel like they're way too good, but they're still overly critical for towards other people, I guess. Um, and I know that Rob's, point of view is, you sit down with a person, you talk with them, sure, but if they don't stop it, they're just getting, kicked. But I want you to, for a moment, put your feet on the shoes
The
of a
other
guild,
shoe,
yeah,
yeah.
that does not have options when it comes to
People.
people to raid with. um
Yeah, but
how would you approach that?
the thing is, let me turn that around a little bit. The problem
Yeah.
is if you have somebody who is an elitist jerk, just let's call it that, and you keep him in for the sake of filling your roster. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But there will be other people talking behind the scenes to each other about that
Right.
person, giving them a bad vibe. Are you going to lose those people then because one person is the elitist jerk?
Right.
You know,
Eventually, yes. Eventually, yes.
eventually, yes. At some point, everybody has this breaking point and don't want to raid with a person who is being a dick.
Right.
So, yes, it's really hard to maybe say, hey, guy or girl, we've talked about this and we don't see any progression in your attitude, blah, 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 and we're kicking you out. Maybe it's a hard pill to swallow because you have to find a new person, maybe even train a new person if you want to call it training. But you have to have the right chemistry between most 25 people. I think that's better in the long run than just sticking it out with that
Mm.
horrible person. But I'm not a
So
raid leader in any of my guilds where I am in. So it's not up to me, but I have a very strong opinion about that.
so one bad apple spoils the
Yeah,
branch or the bunch, whatever.
yeah.
Right.
I
Right.
don't know. You also asked Alex that, so go, Alex.
I believe mostly. I really like in a guild the democratic way. I mean, let's say there's an open discussion.
Democracy.
Yeah, there's an open
Yeah.
discussion about some people. It's up to the officers and leader to decide, of course. But if someone is messing with all the other people, it should be an open discussion with everyone. I mean, it will happen eventually, but you need to know the things with the people you spend time with. It should be open to anyone. And people, I hate people that just because they have a position as a guild master or anything, just pick how do you call it, rash actions,
Right.
because you really need to discuss some things with all the other guys. You don't know how someone feels about it or not, and that should be a thing, in my opinion, that you need. Even if you feel something is bringing you back, bringing you down, someone messing with your head or anything, you should really open up and discuss with other people, or the officers of the guild and the guild master, for sure.
Yeah, but isn't there like a fine line between discussing over communicating things and over discussing things, and which will eventually lead to not making a decision, if that makes any sense.
Just to
Would-
bring the problem to the surface.
Oh, I see. I see. The elephant in the room. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
I don't know.
if everybody you should have an atmosphere in your guild where everybody feels safe to
Yeah, true.
tell uh,
True.
maybe an HR person, that they are not. No, no, no. You laugh, but sometimes like being an officer in guilds. At the moment, I'm not really an officer, but I have been officers. It feels like an HR job because some people have problems with other people and stuff like that. If that is one on one, then it's fine. But if you have like 5 people complaining about one person, there should be a safe space in a guild to say that to
Exactly.
Yeah.
either an officer or maybe in open. I don't think a lot of people will do that in the open, but uh, and if there's like a couple of people whispering you that as an officer, then you should do something with it. In my opinion, like if it's one and maybe at one already, but
Yeah, I
it's
mean, over the years, it has happened in many, many guilds, and even in small communities. It, if a problem persists for so long, it will start to eat you up from the inside,
it will
and
fester.
it
Yeah.
will fester and destroy the community that you've been striving to build and keeping up for all this time.
Yeah.
So
So
communicate, people. That's the the key about this thing.
I know that the whole discussion seems pretty cut and dry. That the problem player or red etiquette should be like you coming in on time and doing your due diligence, like we mentioned, not be overly critical, and also start looking at yourself first before anything else. If there were rules, quote unquote, that would be them. However, Rob, I always wanted to ask you this. Um, what's your opinion on, let's say, negative reinforcement? Because that's what it is. So, um, imagine you being the guild leader and or the raid leader, whatever, and you have this person who shows constantly that he doesn't really respect other people. Would you start enforcing a system where you would start, I don't know, benching them, or giving them minus DKP points, or whatever else other things people are using? Or would you
No,
refrain from that? Yeah, that's I wanted to
I
learn more about that.
I would refrain from that because that is more of a system where you I'm gonna say that you're more a dictator than a leader. Um, Look, I am very harsh about maybe kicking people, what I earlier said, but you have to give people first a chance to prove themselves after you've noticed a problem and you've talked about it with them. But you shouldn't punish them right
Right.
away, or
Hmm.
uh, yeah, maybe I'm very very black and white in this. If you get the opportunity to change and you don't, then you're not the right fit. If you don't get the opportunity to change, but you get penalized by a system, what you just said, then people don't get the opportunity to change. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm.
You mean they're forced to do stuff but don't actually change? Is that where you're going with it? That they're forced to be the nice guy in a raid because of the negative reinforcement and the penalties that
Yeah,
might bring. I
yeah.
see.
Yes, there should be a conversation with somebody who is not fitting, or whatever you want to call it, or is bringing a bad attitude, or not. But are you talking about?
Mm.
I lost my train of thought here a little bit. Give me a second.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So
Okay.
here's my point of view. Here's why I feel like, to me, um your stance on the matter seems odd. I'm not gonna say I understand where it's coming from, but it seems odd because it's like, okay, yeah, let's sit down and talk with the player, right?
Hmm.
They're a problem player. We've explained yada 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 yada. You talk with them and you find out that the problem is mostly a communicational issue on their part because different cultures, essentially. However, in an ideal world, that shouldn't be the case, because having a guild means that you have your own culture within the guild, despite people being from different countries and understanding things differently and interpreting things differently. However, you can't really, you know, change that when it happens. So my point of view is, if people, let's say they don't come in on time, right? Because um, not because they're bad guys, but they're exhibiting this behavior because of, let's say, tiredness. I think that a system should be put in place as a check me kind of thing. Oh, okay, I didn't do that, so now I get minus, whatever. I don't get the next. I get -1 SR if we're using a soft reserve system, and that will remind me not to do it next time. I know why I should not be doing it already, because I've been told, but I don't. Me as the raid leader in that scenario, I wouldn't want to go overboard and be like, "Hey, guy, cut it out, or you're done." I think it's
No,
somewhere in the middle, for
no.
me at least.
For me, it isn't. Problem with that is that people can pick and choose what they do and do not adhere to in rules. If they don't come
Oh,
on
that's
time,
interesting.
and you get like in our system every raid you get 10 DKP, and say you don't come on time, you get -1 DKP. Some people will choose that minus DKP just to nap 15 minutes longer, and
Oh,
that's a
that's
problem.
interesting. Okay, I see.
You should adhere to all rules or not be there. Yeah, maybe it's harsh what I'm saying here. Maybe it is elitist of me, but I think if you get then people gonna pick and choose which rules they are gonna adhere to. You know, if
I would have a question for all the people in the guilds, because every guild in their Discord have like posted the rules
Yeah.
uh, as the first thing to read before entering a guild.
Yeah.
It's always funny that every time in all the guilds I've been so far, uh, every time a new guy comes in, he has no idea about the rules. The guild has set like totally no idea. Most of them, at least.
Yeah,
no,
you mean
I'll
like they don't read
It's so
them?
funny. Hmm.
Like they don't read them, or are
Yeah,
they not
yeah,
being
yeah.
communicated properly?
Yeah,
well, that's
probably.
not true. That's not true. Okay, when I got in the Royal Army, I had a little chat with Dimmy, that is the guild leader.
Shout out to Demi.
Shout out to Dimmy.
Yeah.
When he recruited me, he said, "Okay, this Discord, there are the rules are on this and this page. Please take a minute to read them." And then he just gave me a couple of minutes to actually read them.
Oh, while on the talk. Oh, I see.
Yeah, I can. Maybe I'm wrong, or I'm not remembering this right, but I can remember him saying that I had to read them, and I read them on the spot, and I think that I was totally clear what I was coming into. Even when we went to Wrath and we wanted to up our game a bit, he asked people, or he put some post somewhere, to read that post, what they are expected to do in Wrath Lich King. And people had to tell him that they agreed with him on those rules.
That's
Like the terms
actually.
and conditions.
Those were the conditions. If you're not happy with those conditions, then this is not the guild for you. That maybe sounds very like a dictatorship or something, but I think that is very clear for people when they join something. And the rules weren't all made up by him. He had some officers.
Right.
I'm sure he discussed that with them. I'm not 100% sure, but you know how that goes. They didn't come up from out of thin air. I don't know what he did with you guys, because you came in the guild later than me.
Oh, same thing pretty much.
Yeah, and in all fairness, if you then break that agreement that you made, you basically make an agreement with the guild leader and those rules. If you break the agreement, there should be punishment, not punishment, but consequences. And a
Yeah, but
consequence in my eyes is if you keep disregarding those rules, then you're not a fit. And yeah, sorry, you'll leave.
It's mostly though an agreement to be a normal person while playing with other people. It's not
Yeah, yeah.
like a blood contract or anything, but it's actually, reading. Oh, you should be normal. Yes, you should behave well to other people, right? You should be on time. That's normal etiquette. That should happen on anything. That's the funnier thing. That's why I mentioned it. That I've seen people logging in raids and not even reading where is the Discord channel, or where's the rules, or what's the time of the raid, or anything. I've seen this happen
Yeah, yeah.
quite a lot,
Oh,
frankly.
so we're against negative reinforcement when it comes to the problem raid player. What about positive reinforcement? Like reward those who come on time and do follow the rules that you, Rob, mentioned that are important, and Alex also mentioned that it's an agreement between two human beings basically. So yeah, um, what about positive reinforcement? Where do you stand on that?
Well, that doesn't fit my philosophy either. So that
Oh wow,
sounds
tough cookie.
no. It's all or nothing with me.
I see. I see. Okay.
If you don't do a certain thing, yes, you can be called upon it. But if you do really well, yeah, well, it's expected to do well. And
Is it though?
the thing is, then people are going to be maybe.
What do I mean? Sorry to interrupt, but what do I mean by is it though? Like, the vast majority of guilds are never going to. Okay, we maybe need to define what it means to do well, right? In this context, I guess. Because for me, doing well means that yeah, you're doing all the things that we mentioned that you should be doing, and also trying your best when playing. But this is not really uh, f- uh, an expectation for the vast majority of guilds out there, if I'm being honest.
Okay, but are we
Uh,
talking now about a guild that goes to raids, want to do hard modes, want to do everything in the game, basically?
I mean, we're basically trying to touch the average guild. Like, our guild is not the average guild, right? So there are other guilds out there who do struggle with certain things that we mentioned, and we think that that's sort of a given, but it's not. So there have been times where okay, bad performers have been chosen over um, better ones because of them following the right etiquette, right? They come in on time, they sign up and stuff, which to me is an extreme, right? Honestly. So, is there a factor in where you say, I know that I've digressed here, but is there a factor where you say, this guy is actually doing he's coming in, they're coming in on time, they're signing up, they're bringing their foods, their pots, they are fun, they talk as much as they have to talk, and ideal, but they're not a very good performer. You know what I mean? That happens way too often, honestly. And they keep playing with that person, and they keep reinforcing that person without sitting down with them and being like, you know what, he's not very good, so they need to improve, just because they're not a problem player. So um it's not an expectation to do well, because to me that's what doing well means, right?
Hmm.
You guys lost me there.
No, maybe a bit, but I get your point. I believe you need to keep both of these people happy. Even the
Well,
guy that brings the A game and tries to be the top performer, but applies to the rules and plays properly and is not a dick to others. But you need to keep the player that's been like 100 attendance and being there for everyone and helping everyone out. You need to keep them both happy in this little community, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, you're talking about rewarding people, but how do you want to implement that? Like,
Yeah, that's
y-
the
y-
question, actually.
because other people excel in other stuff, you know.
Hmm.
What you said, you have different kind of people in the guild. People that are maybe not the highest DPSers, but do their job well. Like they call out stuff, they are on time. But other people excel in pumping those numbers and maybe being a little bit more silent or whatever. Other people will need to be talked to about other stuff if they're not doing well, but I don't see how you can then reward people for I don't know.
It's
It's really hard to then make a point
It's tricky,
system or
huh?
something like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's tricky.
it's like
yeah.
rewarding people for the raid etiquette that we've been talking about, for keeping the raid etiquette that we think at
Yeah,
least
but
should be the right one.
I
I
think
mean,
if you're doing
imagine if you had this problem with some people. Okay, so as officers, let's say we don't want to punish the ones that we have to punish because we don't believe in negative reinforcement. So what about positive reinforcement? What about giving little things to the other guys, so that the quote unquote bad people, the bad apples, start looking at it and being like, oh, maybe if I correct my behavior, this is what I'm gonna get. Because
yeah,
at the end of the day, yeah, go on, go on.
but aren't you reversing the same problem? Like you're gonna say,
I
okay, we
am,
get 10 DKP for everybody on every raid, right?
yeah,
But we've seen this, and this, and this, and this, and this person who are doing well. So they're getting 2 more DKP.
yeah.
So you're penalizing the others because they're not performing well as
Am
well.
I? I'm not penalizing the others. I'm rewarding those who are.
Yeah, some people actually do that. If you think about the loot councils, guilds, because that's where the officers pick and decide who gets what. So it actually happens, I believe, just not in all the cases and not in all the guilds.
I think it's a fine line that it's really hard to track
Yeah.
and to consistently, because when are you going to say, okay, enough is enough? If you're gonna reward people, at some point everybody will be trying to get that fix, or however you want to call it. But at some
Yeah.
point, everybody's just doing their job, and everybody's doing their job well. People are communicating, and then what?
Yeah.
And it,
It's the problem is with rewarding people that at some point people start expecting that,
true.
and then you're just chasing a carrot always.
Right. Okay. I mean, um, I feel like what you said a few minutes ago about people trying to essentially game the system. Like, okay, so I'm going to lose like -2 DKP for that. So,
You can
it's fine.
also reverse
I
that.
can, yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I mean, because ultimately, even if you negative reinforce people or positively reinforce people, people are always going to be trying to game that system that you've implemented, for their own benefit mostly. So yeah, that's why it's tricky, man. Rob, you're very wise, dude.
No, I'm not. No, but
So,
I just keep it in a conversation with a person. If he's either doing well
mm,
or bad, You can
Yeah.
still positive reinforce somebody by taking them apart or during the raid where everybody's there. Hey, we've noticed Mr. X, you did this and this on that crucial time. We really appreciated that. Doesn't have to be a reward.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
It can still be
Yeah.
a conversation. Exactly what I said with the other. On the flip side, if you're doing badly, you have the conversation with that person. Hey, we've noticed that you're doing this and this. That isn't what the rules are. This is not what we agreed on.
Mm-hmm.
You should change that. You don't do that conversation in the open because it's putting people on the spot. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? If you're going to do rewards like DKP or whatever, you get free guild repairs and you don't, then there's always a flip side on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. And then you get people that, well, in your words, trying to game the system. I think, but
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm starting to lean more towards your side of things of being cut and dry. You know, sit down, you talk with a problem player, and if they don't correct their behavior, that you have agreed that this is the behavior that should be. You know, because this is what the guild does, and this is what the rules are, and this is what we've agreed on, and then they're out basically.
it's basically a verbal contract that you sign with the guild leader or the guild masters or the group of officers. It's a verbal contract that you sign, saying, okay, I've read your rules. Okay, I've now popped up the rules of the Royal Army. It's very. I wish I could find the rules that Demi did before we started raiding in Wrath Lich King, because that was more in depth about progress and stuff.
Mm.
That's an agreement that you make, and if you don't fulfill that agreement, then it's something you can first work on. If you don't show the leadership that's in the guild that you are working on it, then there's the end of the line. There's so much you can work with, but if people don't see themselves as where the problem lies, then they're not gonna change. And if they're not gonna change, you can tell them every week, but they're not gonna change anyways. What do you have with that person then?
Yeah, man, sounds like my ex actually.
Oh wow, we're talking about access just before we started this.
It
Yeah,
always comes back to that. It
it
always.
always comes back to that. That's true. That's true. All
Yeah,
right, all
but
right.
I may be
I
very black and white with this, and of course there are different ways about it, but I think you can better
mean,
stop.
you're not wrong though. I mean, we've been talking for an hour now. I don't think that you're wrong.
Yeah, you're black, you're
Um,
white. There's also the gray parses in between. That's happening.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. If you weren't, this is what I wanted to ask before we close this off. Man, we said that we were going to talk about raid systems. But we're gonna leave that for or loot
Loot
systems rather.
systems, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna do this another time. I guess that's
yeah,
gonna
for
be also
sure.
fun. Um, say that you're not the. You've described a person at the beginning of the guy that you actually despise the most when you're raiding with, right? The one who's overly critical and pointing fingers. It doesn't look at themselves first and foremost. So, if you're not the raid leader, and if you're not an officer, and this guy is pestering you, right? He keeps pointing fingers at you, and you're just the average player in the guild, right? What would you advise yourself to do in that scenario?
Talk to an officer or the person in charge to get uh, raise your voice about it. Don't just think, okay, I'm not an officer, so it's not up to me, blah 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 blah. Just go to an officer or the guild master saying, hey, I've heard this and this. I've not heard. I've encountered this and this with this person, and
Mhm.
I'm not comfortable with that. And I've maybe said it to that person because I don't want to be talked to it like that. But if you don't let yourself be heard, then the officers or the guild leader will not know that this is playing in your guild.
Yeah.
So if that mindset is in every player, and
Right.
like 4 people or 5 people have that problem with that player, they will say it to the officer. If they're not doing that, yeah, then there's a fault with yourself as well.
Would you
So
talk to them directly? Sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you're not happy with somebody whispering you, hey, this I had that a couple of days ago with somebody. He said, "For yeah, this and this trinket is not good as a discipline priest," and I just said, "Yeah, but the trinkets that you are saying that I should have haven't dropped for me. Plus, I was a holy priest." Like he took it well, but I was a little bit annoyed that he was whispering me about it because yeah, I couldn't do anything about that because I was a holy priest before. But if
Yeah,
he
but that's
was
like
then
a one-time thing, though.
there's a
And
one-time thing, but you have some people that just hammer about, oh, you're doing this wrong or doing that wrong. Then I would go to an officer. I would say, hey, this guy is just
I see.
taking all the enjoyment out of my game because in his eyes I'm doing it wrong, but in my eyes I'm doing it right. Where can I be better? Or maybe you could talk to him. Or
So
am I in the wrong or whatever? You know, keep the conversation.
to
And
sum it
maybe
up for you guys, I would like you both to describe the proper raid etiquette with 3 words each.
Oh, interesting.
3 words. You should have asked me this an hour ago so I could think about it an hour.
So we can just go close it down and take a nap, I guess.
I would say 3 words: communication, respect, and communication.
Hmm.
And I think
Okay.
I keep it there because I want communication twice in there.
Communication twice, huh? Nice.
Yeah.
I would say due diligence for sure. And I what I mean by that is all the things that we've described, plus, trying your best, to be honest. Because I have had it with people, not in our guild, but I mean in general, who are, really nice guys, but I mean, they're getting carried on every raid night. Thank God we don't have those people. So I would say due diligence. I would say respect. I will agree with Rob because it is important for me that if we are all abiding by a set of rules that we have created in a way, um, we all should be doing that, honestly, and we always need to be mindful of the other person. So I would say empathy is also important. That'd be my
That's
three.
3 words.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's 3 words. What about yours?
Yeah, since you've already said the words that I was thinking as well, I would like to
Also,
sum. I would like to
yeah.
sum it up just to be the person that you would like to raid with and hang out with.
Wow.
Just be that person.
Golf claps. Golf
Yeah,
claps,
but
people.
that's okay. I'm sorry, but that's the
Oh God.
most political correct answer that you can give.
Man, you're not fond of parties, are you?
Yeah, I mean,
You-
imagine not you exactly, Rob, because imagine a raid full of Robs. That wouldn't happen ever.
Man, a raid full of rubs would be so fun though. So fun.
No,
Imagine
but
25 rubs.
the person that you want, that's, yeah, okay, but that's basically saying respect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
It sums up all the words you said, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay,
Right.
I'll give you
Right.
that. You can say that, but it is.
And don't be a dick. That's-
Oh
don't be a
shit!
dick, for sure.
Pay for stuff. Now, do I want to have a shout out? This is not the place to do this, man.
A
I want-
plus marketing skills. Nah, it's all good. All right, what about your shoutouts? Do you have any, or do you just hate everybody? So
I wanna
fucking-
have a shout out at 2 people, maybe 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe 3. First one is Dimmy, Dimmy the
Mhm.
Great.
Mhm.
He's known on the server. He's the guild master. He gave me the chance to join in TBC, and I've never regretted it because I left the guild that I've been raiding with for 1.5 years before that.
Mhm.
I think he is a decent guild master. Some things can be better, but that's maybe because I have this black and white point of view about things.
Yeah.
I want to have a shout out at Billy. You don't know him, but he was once in the guild. He was the loot master,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the most fun guy ever.
We've seen the pictures.
You've seen the pictures, yes. He's. If you think I'm funny, fuck that shit, man. He is just naturally funny.
I see.
I like to have fun in the guild and in a raid environment, and Billy was super. And I want to shout out at okay, he's gonna hate this. At Barney.
Barney.
Yeah, Barney.
Hey, Barney.
He is. I am somebody who's like. I really like to spend time in my own house. I'm like really bad at traveling and stuff, but he made me open up, and I went to him in Sweden, and he is one of the most genuine, nice guys in the world. And I'm very happy that
Aw.
he is here raiding with me. Okay, that's
Aw.
like kissing ass to the max now. But
So
yeah.
wholesome, though.
yeah.
What about Fia?
Oh, that's Fia is maybe even better because she has to put up with Barney.
There you go. There you go. There you
That's
go.
the wife of Barney, by
Thank
the
me
way.
later. Thank me later.
Yeah, I hope she's never gonna hear this, maybe. But
Oh, you think. Anyway, this is a good time to close it off. Rob, thanks for being here. I know that we were, a little bit here and there, but I think the gist of the whole discussion is, if there was one guy that we would say that, don't be that guy, is the guy who doesn't respect other people, essentially, when it comes to rating, and constantly points fingers and not looking at themselves first and foremost, and trying to get better for the other people that are around. If you have people in your guild and you're an officer or a guild master, and you've been struggling with people who are like that or in some ways like that, it's always important, like as Rob mentioned, to sit down with them and have a talk.
also
And
be
then if it
open.
doesn't work, yeah, go on.
Be open.
But also be open as an officer and make that environment safe enough that people dare to speak out if they're not comfortable with certain persons in the guild.
Yeah. So yeah, if you are an officer, also make sure that you do that, what Rob just described. And if you're just a player and you basically don't like somebody's behavior, and you actually have some good points to make, address it and just go to your officers or your guild master. Don't be afraid to speak out. That's important, what Rob mentioned, actually. um just speak out, because then you're kind of like you're part of the problem in a sense, because other people are not going to know. We can always be better, all of us here, well, except maybe Rob, but the rest of us, we can always be better. There's no salvation for Rob. That's it. And thank you for tuning in and listening. Amaranth, do you want to say anything before we close this off?
No, just a big thanks to Rob because from the first moment we met Rob, we needed to have a full discussion
Yeah,
and conversation with
yeah.
Rob.
I,
Seemed
I
like an
like Rob.
interesting guy. Yeah.
I like
I
Rob.
hope
That's
that I
fine.
don't come off as a dick with what I all just said. Jesus Christ.
Maybe,
No,
maybe not.
no, you don't come off as a dick. It's like you've seen stuff, so the romance is gone when it comes to these things, and I think that you're more realistic. It's not about you being a dick, honestly.
True.
So people be more realistic, I should say. No need to be like me and trying to salvage a situation or constantly change stuff. Just cut and
The,
dry. If it doesn't work, that's it.
the thing is, okay, I
Um,
wanna say one more thing. Sorry, it's
go
gonna
on.
take too long now. But
You're going to close us off after
I've
this. So
learned very recently and very fast that you can't please everybody, and you
yeah,
should stop doing that.
yeah. Well, that's it. I'm not gonna leave it like this.
No.
It feels awkward.
Uh,
Okay. Goodbye, people. Goodbye, people.
Bye.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
joining
Rob.
us.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Rob.
Cheers. You're welcome. Thank you.